anytime you're going to introduce some type of stress into the training, different type of stress, and let's just call it a different variable or a different stimulus into the training program. The very first thing you got to be asking yourself is, and anybody should be asking themselves is, why am I doing this? Like, why would I be doing it? So, I mean, let's maybe break it down. Why introducing stress can be valuable, right? In your training. I think the first thing that I come up with is, whenever you're training, particularly, let's look at what we're doing on the range with firearms, you're always going to default to the lowest level of training that you have. So when stress starts entering into the equation, right, the things that we know, we're always going to kind of round down, if you will, to what is that basic level of skill we have in terms of proficiency, and it's kind of going to stop there. Even when you start even adding more stress or more stimulus on top of that, it can even drop below that. So it's something to be aware of.
Yeah, I almost feel like your true skill level and your true understanding and practice in mechanics, whether it's fitness or Olympic weightlifting, for example, or powerlifting, it really shows after you start adding some of these different stimuluses, like physical induced stress or under time, doing something under time. Anybody knows, like, that's common sense, right? If you do something like that you have to rush through versus taking your sweet time, you get really challenged on how efficient you move throughout whatever you're doing, whether it's fitness or firearms or anything like that. So, I think in terms of where your training truly is, some of these things, I don't know, maybe they don't get trained enough. So you have almost this false sense of like confidence until you get introduced to some of this. And that's what I try to do. Like when I do any type of firearms instruction, because I come from a CrossFit background. So like, it's easy for me to think, okay, maybe we need to time these things as a unit of measurement. And all of a sudden that is like what we're going to go into to create stress. You know what I mean? Because then mechanics fall apart if you have to speed up, right?
Generally, I mean, when people, again, you start adding additional stimulus, there's a give and take, right? On that scale. The more you put in, it's not necessarily the more you're going to get out. The more you might get out later, but every time you add another variable, there's something you need to be conscious of or be aware of. And I think that's kind of another big part of the why, which is, I think the other reason we introduce the stress is to create more situational type training, and situations are going to be different for everybody. I mean, hopefully you never have to get into one of these situations, but let's be honest, training different situations is fun.